黄义祥. Okay, starting from you. Okay, this article about Dagestan suicide bombing. This happened right after we had class here last week. Okay, so we're pretty update.
The Dagestan suicide bombings at Russia looking to Putin. The Dagestan suicide bombing on Wednesday were the latest in a spate of attacks that has many in Russia looking to Vladimir Putin, whose reputation was built on talk and acting against insurgents.
Okay, first of all, suicide bombings. You have heard a lot right now. Means people who
carry the bomb.
Wrap themselves. Okay, wrap themselves with bombs, and suicide basically means they're going to die, right? Okay. Look into Putin. Who is Putin? Vladimir Putin.
President or
No longer president. Former president,
Russia.
but now prime minister. Okay, in Russia is interesting, right? He is the most powerful man. He served 2 terms as president, and then he just made himself prime minister, and then maybe next time he can return to become president, and then after 2 terms he can go back to be prime minister.
But it's strange, like when you're looking at the position,
Uh-huh.
the position of the president is higher than the prime minister.
Yeah,
But he was like president, and afterwards, like, how to say?
because
It's like
the president is someone he put it in there.
I
Okay.
know, but you know.
So he's the I mean, look at him, so cool, right?
You know, it
Doing
doesn't make any
wrestling.
sense. It doesn't make any sense for someone like to get the, I don't know how to say, like, you know, promoting just the opposite of.
But let me ask you, if you were a Russian, finally you had someone pretty handsome, very fit, better than, I think, Yeltsin, who is out of shape, right? So you want him to be in power for a longer time, right? So that's him. Okay, so he is the current prime minister. Now, spate of attack. What do you mean by spate? S-P-A-T-E, spate.
Sudden fast rush.
Okay, a lot of time people will say something like rain. Okay, sudden rain. That would be spate. Okay, so something emergence just hit it really. So that's a lot of attacks. In the past week, I think we have at least 5 attacks in Moscow, in Transcaucasus as well. Okay, his reputation was built on tough talk. Okay, insurgents. What do we mean by insurgents? What's the difference between insurgents and rebels?
I can tell a difference.
Revolutionaries?
Someone who wants to change or reform.
Well, but what about rebels? Rebels, I think they also want to change. But, okay, you talk about revolutionary, some kind of reform. What do we mean here? They might be interested, they might have, we call, a systematic thought, ideology. That we call revolution. Sun Yat-sen is a revolutionary because Sun Yat-sen has a Sun Yat-sen thought, right? 伯父思想. I mean, there is a 三民主义 or something. I mean, there is some idea. But rebels, what do we mean by rebels? Rebels is people who rebel against the system, but they might not have, they are not happy with the system, but they don't have a systematic thought of their own. Okay, so that we call. What about insurgents?
Someone who wants to do a riot.
riotous, I think, is just protesting. But insurgents are really challenging as well, just like rebel, okay? But I think insurgents is a more neutral term than rebel, okay? But rebel, of course, if they're successful, they became founding fathers, right? Like, what do you, also revolutionary, like Sun Yat-sen or George Washington, right? George Washington, in the eyes of the British, is a rebel. In the eyes of the Americans, revolutionary, right? In the eyes of the British, might be an insurgent forces. Okay, some insurgent almost like forces against the government. Okay, rebel is also against the government, but more, I think, vague than insurgent. Insurgent almost target the government. Okay.
From my dictionary, it says that insurgents are rebels are protected. They follow the law, while insurgents do not.
Rebels fought within the law.
Or they follow the they follow the law of war.
Insurgent do not. I'm not sure. Guerrilla might not. Okay, but even that, I think it's still vague. Because I think that definition I can give that as well. But insurgents are the one who challenge the system, who can do, I think, different things. Rebel may be considered to be more primitive in terms of their challenge. Okay, insurgents can be more sophisticated. I will only say that. Okay, more sophisticated. So here, against the insurgents, okay, against those people like from the Transcaucasus. Okay, I don't think we want the picture here. 李玉维是什么？李玉璇，对不起。Yeah, sorry. Okay, Miss Lee.
Prime Minister
Vladimir.
Putin is the cabinet meeting at the Novo presidential residence outside Moscow. Putin said the Dagestan suicide bombings on Wednesday that had been organized by the Russian military to attack the Moscow subway.
Okay, thank you. I think we all know that. It's the same people. No, okay, continue. Go directly to this paragraph. The Dagestan. Okay.
The Dagestan
No. And just, that's okay. Continue. The same paragraph, but that's fine.
The Dagestan suicide bombings Wednesday were the latest in a spate of attacks inside Russia that have put intense pressure on powerful Prime Minister Vladimir Putin to preserve his legacy of bringing strength, security, and stability to Russia.
Okay, Vladimir is not that difficult. There is a town called Vladivostok. Have you heard of this town? Vladivostok. Vladivostok. Here. Which town? Means very powerful sea cucumber. 有听过吗？海参崴。俄文叫 Vladivostok。OK。中文怎么看？ Vostok. Vostok. I mean Vladivostok. T-O-K here. I'm sorry. Vladivostok. So 海参崴，我们都不晓得怎么念，对不起来 ，right? Vladivostok versus 海参崴. I don't know why. Okay, but they have this. Vladimir also is the first name of a very famous Russian communist. Miss Lee, can you name some famous Russian communist leader? Have you heard of Lenin? Lenin? Like calmness on display. 没听过这个人，列宁啊 ，calmness on display 啊，列宁安宁嘛啊。But his usually if you find his name is like Vilenin. Okay, that's Vladimir as well. Okay. So who knows? Get used to. Maybe you would date a boy with that first name. Okay. Okay, now, this is interesting here. Says his legacy is what? SSS. Ooh. Strength, security, stability. What do we call this? This is almost like alliteration. 中文什么意思? Alliteration. Miss Lee, do you know this word? 你看看什么意思？押韵，这怎么押？等一下 ，strength, security. Well, security and stability maybe a little bit. 不是，它不是这叫做押头韵。哦，不是丫头的命运 ，I'm sorry。头押吗？不是。押 ，OK， 头韵不要叫押韵，头韵 ，OK，I think that's the one. Do we have similar things like this? Like Jane Austen's novel, there are 2 novels having this kind of. Li An directed one movie of Jane Austen. 什么？哎，等一下，李安导演的是叫什么？《傲慢与偏见》吗？好像不是哦。Okay, Li An is the only one people recognize from Taiwan. Okay, so we have to know him very well. 李安导演的什么？奥斯汀的小说最出名的。Emma Thompson， 看不看电影？不看。看过这个没有？李安导演的古装片，英国古装片。理智与感情 ，sense and sensibility， 理性与感性 ，OK， 我们叫做OK， 理性与感性 ，OK， 理智与感情 ，OK， 理性与感性 ，so sense and sensibility，S and S， 傲慢与偏见 ，also pride and prejudice，P and P， S and S。Okay, so the same thing here. Strength, stability, security. Look nice, right? The other one we also like to talk about is what? Peace and prosperity. P and P, right? So all those are useful. Okay. Next one, Su Xinghe. Yeah. Expert. Chechnya. In Sochi. Sits. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, experts divided what option available means what kind of choice do you have, right? For Putin, who as president, tough, right? Tough guy. You know, if you look at his wrestling, I think he's a tough guy. But to the rebellious Republic of Chechnya, so if we look at Russia, okay, I want to go back because Chechnya, you have to look at the big one. Okay. Countries in the world, okay, usually we have different kind of political system. And this different kinds of political system are federation. Federation means you have a central government, and then you have the local government. And central government and local government sharing power. We call a federation, 联邦, right? Confederation means the parts are bigger than the central government. 邦联, okay? Example of 邦联 will be what? Have you heard of HRE? What is HRE? Holy Roman Empire. Holy Roman Empire. 什么? Holy. 神圣罗马帝国. Okay. You know the emperor is not very big, but it's the local kingdom. Okay. Also, confederation might be something like Zhou Dynasty, the spring and autumn period. No, not the spring. Warring states. 什么是 warring states? Spring and autumn period. But this is real translation. Okay. 春秋时代, spring and autumn. I'm sorry, this is real. Okay. Warring states. 战国. How many people 鸟周天子? No? Okay, so that's a confederation. Okay. Confederation means the parts are bigger than the central government. Okay? Federation means you share power. Okay? And then centralized system is like the one in Japan, in China, here in Taiwan. Federation, do we have other countries? That is federation, United States. Okay? What other countries are federation? Australia. Okay. First of all, you have to be big. Okay, because big country, you have we call regional differences. So you allow them to have regional differences. That's why we call federation. Okay, so Russia, the former Soviet Union, is a federation. Germany is a federation. Canada is a federation. Australia is a federation. Mexico is a federation. Brazil is a federation. Big country. India is a federation. So only that China, big enough, but it's not a federation. Okay? Nigeria, also federation. Nigeria, territorially, is not very big, but population is big. Okay, the only other big population country that is not federation is Indonesia. Okay? So usually when you have big population, especially different ethnic groups, you allow local differences. Like Nigeria, in the north, they have Muslim people. What do? You say, okay, you can have your Muslim law, Sharia, there. Okay, but this does not apply to the south. So you understand federation and confederation. So federation means local differences. In America, the most important one is what? Death penalty, capital punishment. Some states have death penalty. Some states do not. So if you want to kill people, please find the right state. Okay? Like I was in Alaska for a while. Alaska, there is no death penalty. So a Taiwanese chef, okay, cook, okay, he killed someone. He killed 2 persons, serving 299 years. Wow. So his sentencing is 198 years. Okay, but no death penalty. But if you kill someone in Texas, I'm sorry, you're heading to the death row. Okay, so that's federation. A lot of local differences. And important thing here is Russia, Chechnya is a republic of Russia, right? But if we go back, Soviet Federation, Soviet Union, the one before Russia, the one that collapsed, that was also a federation. So when Soviet Union collapsed, all the federal republics of the Soviet Union became independent. So who are those countries? Like in Baltics, we have those three, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, right? So those are the federation of Soviet Republic, okay? And then in European sides, we also have Belarus, 白俄罗斯, okay? Moldova, and Russia and Ukraine. So 3 at Baltic, 4 Europe, and then 3, the one we learned last time, the Caucasus, Transcaucasian states, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. So now, can you do the math? Can you do the math? Mr. Su, how many do we have right now? 3 Baltic states, 4 European states, 3 Transcaucasian states. How many do we have? 3 plus 4 plus 3. Ooh, so difficult. 百万小学堂, come on. How many do we have now? 10, okay. But we also have 5 more here. All the stan, okay. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, 哈萨克、吉尔吉斯、塔吉克、土库曼、乌兹别克. So 15 republics, okay? They all became independent after Soviet Union collapsed, which is because Soviet Union is a federation of 15 republics. So they all became independent, no problem. Now, there is another country that also a federation, also collapsed, former Yugoslavia. Okay? Yugoslavia used to have 6 republics. Bosnia, Herzegovina, and then you have Croatia, Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, Slovenia. Okay? Bosnia, 听过吧？波斯尼亚 Croatia, 克罗埃西亚 with two great tennis players, right? Goran Ivanisevic, and then Iva Ivanovic. 就是那个澳网公开赛跟 Sharapova 打的那个 Croatia, right? Then you have Macedonia. Macedonia, what is Macedonia? But this, you have to say Macedonia of the former Yugoslavia. Why? 一定要说是前南斯拉夫的马其顿 because there's another Macedonia inside Greece. And the Greece said, hey, we own that name. You cannot call Macedonia. Macedonia is part of Greece. 马其顿是希腊一部分. So Macedonia said, okay, we are called Macedonia of the former Yugoslavia. 你看希腊很霸道吧 Montenegro, 蒙地内哥罗 Some people call mountain, Negro, black, 黑山共和国 OK, 黑山不是黑山队那个黑山 Not shirt, mountain OK, black mountain OK, 黑山共和国 And then Serbia, 塞尔维亚 Slovenia, Slovenia I think Slovenia is in the World Cup. It's a small country. So, this year, a few months later in South Africa, when you watch the World Cup, you will learn a lot about Slovenia. Okay. It will have the international exposure. And Taiwan, we should work very hard on our soccer team. If we ever make it before I pass away, I don't think. I think we might make it in the next century. If our soccer team, then there will be a lot of exposure of Taiwan. Okay, World Cup is the best. So these are the federation, and everyone became independent now. Okay, one time, Bosnia, Croatia, Macedonia, and Slovenia all became independent. But these two held together, Montenegro and Serbia. They still call themselves Yugoslavia. But eventually, even Montenegro say, hey, bye-bye, kind of lonely here. So they all left, right? So we have, now, this is why I'm introducing you to this, because there's a new country from the former Yugoslavia called Kosovo. Now, what is this country, Kosovo? Kosovo. Kosovo is an autonomous region of Serbia. Okay, now, Kosovo, in terms of level, is different from Croatia, from Montenegro. But now, Kosovo became independent. Because Kosovo said, hey, 90% of us are Albanians, Albanians. We are not Serbian. So they want independence. And you're not supposed to let an autonomous region of a country to become independent, and then all the European powers rush to recognize Kosovo independence. Now, this is why if I belong to Chechnya, Chechnya is just like Kosovo, is an autonomous republic of Russia. It's not a federal republic of the Soviet Union. So you look at all the independence of the 15 republics of the former Soviet Union and the 6 republics of Yugoslavia. And now you say, if Kosovo can become independent and recognized by European powers, why can't Chechnya? Do you understand now? If I am a Chechnyan, okay, I look at this, I said, 20 years ago, we tried to have independence. No one tried to recognize us. No one said, even American will not support. That's fine, because nobody will support an autonomous region to become independent. But if Kosovo can be independent and recognized, why can't Chechnya? 懂了没有这个 analogy? It's almost like Taiwan, we want to be independent. We said, if China is a federation, all the provinces of China can become independent. So Taiwan become independent, right? Tibet became independent. But then suddenly, Penghu also want to be independent. And then people rush to recognize Penghu. Suddenly, Hainan, Zhoushan Qingdao from Zhejiang said, if Penghu can be recognized, then Zhoushan Qingdao can be a different country from Zhejiang province. 对不对？舟山群岛是在浙江吧？对不对啊？你们都不知道。Okay, just tell you, it's a good place for seafood. Okay, I heard they have good seafood, very fresh fish. Okay, but you understand 这个 analogy 这个比喻。So Kosovo can be independent. 对不起啊，这个国家我们去承认它，所以它不要我们承认。Okay. Because China would not recognize it. China said, we are friend of Serbia, so we will not recognize Kosovo. And also, if China recognized Kosovo independence, the Europeans said, oh, why don't we recognize Taiwan? Right? You claim to be a part of you, and, lower level. So this is the background of those. And Russia's autonomous republic in the Transcaucasian region, in the south of the Caucasus Mountain, 高加索山. South of them, the 3 republics. Again, I just want to make sure you got it. Hu Ronghua. What are the 3 republics south of the Transcaucasus, of the Caucasian Mountain? Those 3 republics, remember? independent already? Which are they? Hey, we did it last week as well. 哪三国? Did you do your homework? AGA. We went through those. The previous slide. Do you remember? Of the 15 republics of former Soviet Union, the Baltic states, the European states, and then the Transcaucasian states. Do you remember those three? You don't? Ms. Hu, can you think about it? What one of them having problem with Turkey? Which one? Did you do your homework? Last week, Turkey and what's the problem? Turkey and what genocide? Armenian, right? So Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia, right? That's south of the Transcaucasus region. And this is Transcaucasus, Caspian Sea, Black Sea. This is Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. And then this is the north area. So if we have the republics here, autonomous republic, you have the Chechnya, you have the Dagestan, and Ingushetia, and North Ossetia. Okay, so those are some of the republics, but there are more, okay, to the west. And one of them also has the city, right, Sochi, that is going to have the Winter Olympic in 2014. Wow. Putin is pretty courageous. Putting the Winter Olympic Games in a place that is, we call volatile, that is very unstable. Reminds me of something happened before. So how many of you heard about an Olympic game? Some of the Israelis players being gunned down by Palestinians. Munich. What's the year?
1966.
Wait a second. 1966 is not a year of Olympic. 64 and 68 are. 68 is Mexico game. 64 is Tokyo game.
72 then, or 70.
Okay, 76 is where we have this team called Expo Montreal, okay, game in Montreal, 76. So 72 in Munich, Germany. So that's terrorists went and killed Israeli players, right? Now, do you think anyone dare to go to the 2014 games, where if Moscow cannot protect its own subway? Wow, Winter Olympic Games. They might kill some international players. Do we have any athletes going to the Winter Olympic from Taiwan? No, but hey, I read the news. We have some hockey teams beating UAE hockey team. That's not an accomplishment. 我们台湾好像是高中还是冰上曲棍球队赢了阿拉伯大公国的冰上曲棍球队。If you I don't know, but I think the level of play must not be very good, right? If we beat someone from, let's say, Austria, Canada you can't, right? But even like Austria, Slovenia, Slovakia, that would be tough, okay? But so these are the republics in Russia, and already we have bombing here. We have killing of policemen here in Ingushetia, Chechnya. They are responsible for the Moscow bombing. So all three it's in the east part of the northern Caucasus, are not very stable. So fortunately, Sochi is on the Black Sea, okay, looking at the Black Sea and then mountains behind. Beautiful city, Winter Olympic game. Okay, so these are some of the countries that would try to, we call, separate. Like Chechnya, try to have a political separation from Russia. So some people, we call them separatist. 分离主义者, separatist. Okay, separatist, that's one. But sometimes they only want autonomy. Like what part of China they are wanting autonomy? Tibet. Okay, Tibet, according to Dalai Lama, he said, I don't want independence, I just want autonomy. Okay, local autonomy. And autonomy can also mean decentralization. Decentralization means power going to the local area. Okay, the same thing with devolution. Devolution is also like delegating power to the local. In Taiwan, I think we are also doing that as well. We have 5 major special cities, right? So they might be wanting more decentralization of power. So I don't think we have the danger of Tainan County and City, 台南市, right? 新五都还是叫台南市嘛? Is Tainan City going to declare independence? No. Okay. So devolution means more power delegated to the local, but some want all the way. They want independence. They want independence or secession. Secession means already part of you and then secede. Say bye-bye to the union, right? Secede, 分离. Okay. Some people say that's self-determination. Now, I want to also introduce you another word. Separatist. Some people call, like in Taiwan, our politician who promote Taiwan independence, how does China call them? 中国怎么称那个台独分子? Separatist. That's not even. Separatist, it's almost like you're already a part of it and you're trying to separate. So, yeah, separatist is one. Some people will call separatist. But some people call those, we call splitist. Try to split. 分出去. Okay, splitist. And Taiwan is also called, by China, called renegade province. Panli 的一省. Okay, renegade, like rebel, renegades, pan. Renegade, G-A-D-E, I'm sorry, renegade. Renegade. Renegade province. So those are the terms for political separation, depending on the level. And what is irredentism? Irredentism means you have people like Armenia. Armenians in Turkey, they feel they are part of Armenia. So they want to unite that part. Like this country here. India and Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka in the north have a lot of, we call Tamil people. T-A-M-I-L, Tamil, right? So the Tamil people across the straits here in India say, hey, our brothers are suffering. We should support their independence or secession so that they can be unified with. So that's what we call irredenta. Okay, and China consider Taiwan as an irredenta, as a province that belong to China, similar people. Okay. And how did Russia do with their federation before? From the very beginning, in the 16th century, if you look at this big map of Russia, right? Russia right now, so small, only here, right? Before they have all this Central Asia here. They also have the Transcaucasus. They have Ukraine, Belarus, right? Moldova here, and then Baltics. So pretty big. But the big problem of Moscow is sitting in the middle of nowhere. Okay, no, in the middle of a lot of things. But there is no barrier to protect. So they have to expand until they feel secure. So they continue to expand to the south because you have a power here, Ottoman Empire, Turkey, then to the Chinese border, then to the European border. So they felt secure. But once you feel secure, you include a lot of people who do not share any kind of cultural similarity with you. Okay, religiously different, right? Linguistically different, ethnically different. So that's why Russia, from Peter the Great, ever heard of Peter the Great? 彼得大帝 Okay, Catherine the Great, 有听过吧？凯撒琳大帝。Wait a second. Catherine is a female. Can we still call her 大帝？凯撒琳大后。Never heard of 大后, though. But we still call her 大帝, right? But she is like a man, I think. And then Stalin. Ever heard of Stalin? Yeah, Stalin. Okay. Joseph Stalin. Stalin also continued to move into this area, but they never trust those people. So Stalin has a good way of dealing with different republics. He just relocate them. Example like Chechnya, he felt those people during World War II might be collaborating with the German Nazis. So they moved them to Central Asia. So they move people like from Korea to Central Asia. They moved the Chechen from Transcaucasus to Central Asia. So never being able to control. And those, they want independence. So big problem. Russification. What do you mean by Russification? Yeah, make them look like Russian. Okay, speaking the language, maybe sometimes adopting the religion, the Russian Orthodox Church, 东正教, okay, instead of the Islam. They also call Russification a process of modernization, which is now might be true for some groups. 好像俄罗斯话也是现代化 ，OK， 就好像我们今天听什么西洋化 （Westernization）， almost like modernization, right? So that's one. And now Putin tried to suppress, but his we call handpicked successor, Medvedev, he was the one who wanted to have pacification. What do we mean by pacification? Pacify someone. Means calm down, calm down. 怀柔政策。哎呀，怀柔，我们叫怀柔啊。我以前都听不懂什么叫怀柔，后来看了英文我才懂，中文我常常看不懂，就好像绥靖我也看不懂。What does that mean? Huh? No, not conquer. During World War II, right? Great Britain, Prime Minister, Chamberlain, basically accept what Germany, Nazi Germany's expansion. Today I think sometimes we call 姑息, but 姑息 is also 绥靖。有没有人有中文字典查查看是什么意思？绥靖 ，cannot believe 那这个绥靖这个是什么意思嘛？绥是什么意思？平安，绥好绥不是？安定的 Okay, just for the sake of stability, we will not make a fuss. OK， 就算了，不挑战你了。就是姑息了。OK。哎，等一下，姑息叫什么？姑息叫I have a word. OK, I'll think about it after the break. 等一下，这什么？你们想想。Why？ appeasement. OK, that's 绥靖啊，你去查 appeasement， 结果一看绥靖，不懂还是不懂。OK, let's take a break. 是俊 Ray. OK. Wednesday,
double suicide bombing in Dagestan, killed at least 12 people and wounded 23, mostly members of Russia's security forces, and focused attention on an insurgency that's been expanding, largely below the world's radar screen. On Russia's troubled southern flank, for at least 2 years, insurgents from the North Caucasus are suspected behind the pair of devastating strikes at 2 underground metro stations in Moscow on Monday morning that killed 39 people.
Okay, so here, double suicide. Now, let me... the baseball season in the United States, okay, I think sometimes we forgot. Yankee is not a team from Taiwan. But anyway, the baseball season just started. You know the double header. What do you mean by double header? No, double header. Yeah, 2 games. 就是一天看2场，中文怎么讲？双重赛啊，好难懂啊。Okay, that's a double header. But you know double play. 双杀。Okay, double steal. 双盗垒。Now, double switch. What is double switch? 换人，换投手。但是因为换投手的之后，可能投手下面一个就要打击，就是他，所以也换一个垒手。台湾现在都是 designated hitter, right? 指定打击。But in National League in America, the 2 leagues, American League, you have designated hitter. In the National League, the pitcher has to hit. Remember Wang Jianming's story? Okay. So, but when you have to hit, but if you are the next one, if you have to change the pitcher, but he will be the next one to hit. So sometimes you also change a fielder. So we call double switch. Okay, so double suicide bombing here in Dagestan killed 12 people. Challenging, mostly are security forces. That's good. At least you are not killing the ordinary citizens. Okay, so what do we say? You have ball. 有胆识, right? You kill the security forces. And focus attention on the insurgency largely below the radar screen. What do you mean by radar screen?
That doesn't draw much attention.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with Taiwan, don't you think? I mean, we are not in the international radar screen. No matter what do we do, we are forgotten here. So we have to make a fuss. We have to create some problems. Right? So people, otherwise we will be off the radar screen. Okay? So radar screen, now, this means earlier this year, in January and February, there were some terrorist attacks in this region, in the Transcaucasus. Okay, Russia did not report it, and so the world didn't report it. And we thought this one coming, this metro bombing, very sudden. No, it's not. There were already some insurgents events, and then Russia also suppressed the area, as well. So that's the reason we said largely below the world radar screen before, but now it's coming. Okay, southern flank. What do you mean by flank? Side. Okay, now there is a key word in those beef lovers. There's something called frank beef. What is frank beef? 乐排，听说好吃啊？Frank steak，你没听过 Frank steak？ 你们看看英文字典怎么讲 ？Frank steak。什么排？什么牛肉？有没有字典？都没有，你们字典都没有。Frank steak. That's the English one. I mean, we are trying to get a Chinese translation. So you order you 都没有嘛？哦，你们的字典。Frank steak, good part. Okay. Now, southern flank. Flank, if you study military history, you love to do that. You read the kingdom, the three kingdoms of romance. 有听过吗？ Three kingdoms of romance. 三国演义 Okay, three kingdoms of romance. Okay, now, it is the translation. I'm not kidding. Okay, a romance novel. 中文叫什么？就是 medieval time. We have this romance, romantic 的 but it's not romantic. Okay, romance novel. But anyway, you will hear like, oh, 诸葛亮 order. You take the left, you take the right. 左翼右翼各什么500兵马，这边有几百兵马 ，right? That's we call flank. 左塞右塞包围 Okay, so flank. So southern flank, the south side. Look, this is Moscow, and directly south, that's Caucasus. Okay, Caucasus. So you have the flank, southern flank. For at least, the trouble have been in there 2 years. North Caucasus, South Caucasus are those three independent republics. And the north are those, the one I show you, right? Behind the devastating strike to underground metro station. Now, how many of you have seen the picture of the metro station? Mr. Liu, have you seen those?
I've seen the pictures.
Now, do you think it would be such a blasphemy, 亵渎神呢一样, to bomb the metro station in Russia? Because there's so many arts.
Yes. I heard that it's very...
It's like a museum.
Yes.
Okay, so like if you bomb Taiwan's underground station, so what? Right? I mean, we don't have any artistic value there. But if you bomb, I'm not sure. We're going to have a 龙山市站底下有没有什么东西？我们从来没在那边上过车，有没有？站里头没东西的，叫龙山市站里头一点雕刻都没有。Are we going to have a 行天宫站？I'm not sure. Are we going to have something artistic? No. They all look the same, right? All the Taipei subway station. But Russians go very deep because they are used as bunkers if it happened to have war with the United States. They used that during World War II against Germany. It's like, bunkers, 防空洞一样. Yeah, 就可以进到里头去. Okay, so very deep. And then with all the arts, 你想想看，在里头很闷，还可以欣赏一下艺术，还可以。Right? But Taipei Station, you get bored. They all look the same. So I think they're crazy to bomb the Moscow stations because they do have some values there. Okay, next one, 许同利.
The explosive return of terrorism to Russia's political agenda is deep and personal challenge for Putin, said Nikolai Petrov, an analyst with the Carnegie Center in Moscow.
Continue.
Putin came to power in 1999 amid a wave of terrorist apartment bombings that killed hundreds in Moscow and other Russian cities. He famously remarked that Russian forces would wipe out the bandits in the outhouse, and oversaw a brutal pacification program against Chechen rebels that seemed to end with Kremlin declaring victory last year.
Okay, explosive return of terrorism. Russia always have terrorist attack. Okay, in the 19th century, the terrorists assassinate people. Okay, they don't have the bomb, but they assassinated people. Now they return. This is a big challenge to Putin. Carnegie Center. Is this one supported by the United States? Carnegie 中心. I wonder. So don't trust the word from Nikolai Petrov. Okay, will not be very neutral. Will be biased, I think. Okay, but anyway, he said Putin came to power in 1999. At the time, you have a lot of apartment bombing in Russia, right? And what do you mean by wipe out the bandits in the outhouse? What is an outhouse? What is an outhouse? That's the one I experienced in Central Asia. 不是公厕啦，就是野外厕所. Okay. Now, when I was in Alaska, some people wanted to say, "Oh, we want to." Alaskan people pretty crazy. They felt they belong to the wilderness. So people said, "Oh, do you want to go to my cabin by the lake?" I said, "Fine." So we go there to spend a weekend. No electricity, no water, and no indoor plumbing. So what do I do if I have the urge? Out there, okay? Sometimes there might be a little house there, but and then you dump everything and then just flow away, through the creeks. Okay, so that's what we call outhouse, right? Yeah. And when I went to Central Asia to visit my son, he was teaching in Kyrgyzstan. Okay, so I went there. There's no indoor plumbing, no water, but I have to go to the bathroom. It's winter time. Winter time, you just frequent the outhouse, right? So I went to the outhouse, and then afterwards, no place to wash my hands. Then my son introduced me to all his, other teachers, principals. Everybody is shaking hands. Wow. And his host family also has an outhouse. But at least they have some water I can use to wash my hands. Outhouse, which was, crouching there and then smell the animal smell. Okay, the horse, the sheep and everything. So outhouse, do we have that here in Taiwan? Yes. Sometimes when we have demonstration, they put some outhouse there, right? 也不是我们那种行动厕所也不能洗手吧？有些有啊。对嘛，就是一个wow, that's what we call, okay? So Putin said, wipe out the bandits in the outhouse. Means, they're from those kind of not very civilized place. And oversaw a brutal pacification. We said pacification is a good word, but brutal pacification means I just want to keep you quiet. Okay? That's pretty brutal. Against Chechen rebels that seem to end. They somehow declared victory last year, but never finished. Okay? 许宗浩有在吗？ 蔡伟林 Yeah, next. Horrific. Okay, here, a myth of Putin. Putin is a tough guy. Okay, it's almost the opposite of our president's image now, right? Our current president's image is being soft, weak. So Putin has this very tough image and very effective that he will bring peace and stability. But for 6 years, if you look at the heartland of Russia, heartland, that's the heartland of Russia, right? This is what? Siberia, right? This is very north, so the heartland is here. Free of those violence means nothing happened majorly. But until last November, I think, you have this train between Moscow and St. Petersburg exploded in a rural area, not very populated area. So people said, is this a just one-time incident, or there are going to be more? Okay, proof. It's a warning of things to come. A lot are coming. 正方有在吗 ？OK， 张立行、王诗琪 ，OK。Continue. Prestige. Okay, so this is, if you are a terrorist, you want to attack, you want to make it big. So, metro station, especially one that is so close to former KGB, the Soviet secret police headquarters, that will be prominent attack. Okay, so Putin will be under a lot of pressure that his tough approach works, right? It's all on him, means he is responsible for everything. So he need to take actions, at least, okay, if you don't restore stability, you have this we call impression of stability, okay? Impression. The economy might not be good, at least people have the impression it's going to be good. So that's what Petrov recommended, but also they said explicit the threat to Sochi, where you have the Winter Olympic Game. How much money is 17 billion US dollar? 170亿美金，那再算台币，乘以30好了，5000，叫5000亿吗？5400 ，OK， 5100、5200都5000多一点了啊。OK， that money is just too much. I cannot think. Gosh. Sometimes how do you think of money? You would think, this is how many 地保 do I have? I can calculate that, or how much of those. So here, a lot of money here. Personal prestige. Russia is not like Sochi is the only place in Russia you can have winter game. Wow. Don't you think Russia has a lot of cold places you can have winter game? Why you pick some here? Huh? Canada doesn't have a lot of snow. Didn't have enough snow in Vancouver. I guarantee you will have a lot of snow here. So why pick something here, so close to the center of instability? So that's pretty. We call it's almost like China having a Summer Olympic game in Urumqi. Xinjiang, separatist, terrorist, insurgents in Xinjiang province. And, that's how you pick. So you have a lot of prestige there, personal, in this game. Okay, next one. Chen Tingyu. Yeah. Olga. Olga is fine. I don't think you can pronounce the next name. Right? Krishtanovskaya. Okay, now my question is, Chen, do you think that's the case? If you cannot stop terrorists in Moscow, you cannot stop terrorists attacking in a Winter Olympic game. Really? Now, I don't agree, because Winter Olympic game, it's an international event. You can put a lot of security forces in advance, but you just don't know. And it's a short period of time, 2 weeks, right? But Moscow, I just don't know where the terrorists, which station they might attack. There's so many people going around. And I can always put security check, outside the Olympic Village. It would be easier. So I don't necessarily agree, but it's embarrassing, when Moscow is attacked. I think that's embarrassing. It's almost like if terrorists attack Taipei, where they will hit in Taipei. What would be a likely target in Taipei? 101. Okay, that will hurt our feeling, don't you think? This is the symbol of Taiwan's prosperity, maybe complacency as well. 自得意满的地方. But 101 will be something. Okay. But where else? No, I don't think it's presidential office in Taipei. It may be. But why don't they hit AIT, American Institute in Taipei, right? 所以美国在台协会是恐怖主义攻击目标，我们台湾的维安都是在针对美国在台协会。Because we don't offend the terrorists, it's the Americans, right? Who offend the terrorists. But metro station in Russia, the busiest in the world, daily, okay, more than 5 million people take the subway. Taipei, how many people daily? Altogether, 1 day. About 1 million. Okay. During our, what is that? New Year celebration, right? 叫什么？跨年晚会. Okay. The most that day is about 2 million people. Okay, Russia has about 5, and the peak one time was 8 million. Okay, so daily average is about 5 million. A lot of people, if you want to do something crazy. Okay, next one, 黄义贤. President Dmitry Medvedev. Dmitry Medvedev. Medvedev. Okay, the sewers. Now, this is almost like Putin is the equivalent in Taiwan. Mr. Huang will be who? Who is Putin in Taiwan? Prime Minister of Taiwan, Premier of Taiwan. Prime Minister Putin, Prime Minister of Taiwan. 吴奎，有一个人叫吴奎啊，吴敦义。Okay, that's fine. 为什么叫奎 ？Can anyone tell me where do we get that word 奎 ？Yeah, but what does 奎 mean? Really? Really? 奎，中文什么意思？奎。I'm learning Chinese today. 有这样子啊，有这个叫道魁啊。有这样子吗？这是中文啊。宰相叫魁。Okay, I first learned that word. Someone with my last name called 严魁。有个台湾以前有个行政院长叫严家淦 ，okay, the same 严。But anyway, Wu Kui in Taiwan, Wu Dunyi, hey, he is not in charge of national security. Just like Russia, right? He is for economic affairs, domestic affairs. The president is in charge of national security, foreign affairs, and cross straits in Taiwan. Okay, the same thing in Russia. But Putin doesn't care. Right? So he just stepped out of his boundary, and this one should be the rim, means the area of President Medvedev. Okay, but Medvedev might be a puppet of Putin. Who knows? And also the outhouse comment, he said, dredge from the bottom. The militant should be dredged from the bottom of the sewers. Now, sewage. 新竹. Do we have sewage system, Mr. Chen? Huang. Mr. Huang. Yeah, what is sewage? 下水道新竹覆盖率多少？不知道。Taipei, I think right now it's like 60%. It's very high, but you ever go? Which country is famous for its sewage system 100 years ago? It's a tourist spot. Paris. Okay, if you go to Paris, 你们要去参观下水道. Okay, doing very good job. But sewage in our mind is always dirty, right? So he's, Putin is saying those militants, those terrorists hiding, there, they will be dredged. Means they will be cleaned up there. I'm going to wipe them out. So that's Putin. Putin like to use all these words about the outhouse. Okay, next one. 林毅在吗 Okay. Dagestani. Oh, I love this name. Mogomed Salam, Mogomedov.
Saying the Moscow and Krasnodar bombers were linked in the same chain.
Okay, continue.
Some experts believe Putin and Mr.
Medvedev.
Medvedev are engaged in an under-the-carpet struggle for control of the Kremlin and elections that are slated for 2012, and some suggest that swift action by Putin in the wake of the terror strikes may improve his chances.
Okay, so here they said these two terrorist attacks, one at Moscow, one at Dagestan. Okay, of course, the one in Moscow is actually two, right? Also in Dagestan, also two, but they are linked. So it's the same group, and then some experts said, hey, the president and the prime minister are engaged in we call power struggle, right? Under the carpet or behind the scene, it's the same. 背后 for control. Okay, in election, what election? Ms. Lin, what election? I thought Putin already served as president. So what election? It's still the presidential election because in Russia, they said the president can only serve 2 terms. But after someone serve another term, you can come back and then another 2 terms. Okay? So now, Medvedev only served 1 term. He can serve the next term, 2012. But maybe Putin said, I want to come back early. You know, I'm just putting you up for 1 term. You know, how can you become serious? You know, this is a big problem. Sometimes you put a puppet there, and they suddenly thought they are president. They became serious. They want to act as president, and then they will be removed. 有的时候这些政治人物搞不清楚，所以人家说我把你放在那边好看的，他说哦，可是我是总统，那我要做事。No, you're not supposed to do anything. You're just a puppet. So that's why maybe they are in a struggle. We don't know. Okay, but what is Kremlin? Like White House, like our presidential palace, like French will be Elysee Palace. Now, Kremlin, so there is a word. Okay, Ms. Lin, what is criminology? 克林姆的克里姆林 ，OK， 克里姆林，Kremlin， 哎 ，How do you spell Kremlin？ 等一下，怎么拼 ？L 是吧 ？OK，Kremlin，OK， 叫做克里姆林公学。What does that mean? Means Russian specialist, people who know Russia, okay, who observe Russia before they observe Soviet Union, okay. 中国这个俄罗斯专家就叫这个 ，OK， but 中国专家叫什么 ？Sinologist， OK， Sinology。Okay. Criminologist. Okay, so maybe if he act tough, people say, well, we won, you know. He can always mobilize his supporters, say, we want Putin, you know. Yang Mingwen, yeah. Another Vladimir, Prispilovsky. panorama. Medvedev. Okay, so here, emergency presidential election. Oh, the president is too weak to lead the country. We need a firm leader. Okay, so Putin is there. Okay, me.
This happened in a country like Russia. This is very strange.
What do you mean?
It's like it's not a country with like unstable
But maybe Putin said, I got the information, but hey, why don't we let some riots? Then people will say, oh, we need Putin. Right? For example, United States during World War II, people said President Roosevelt, had the information of the Pearl Harbor attack, 珍珠港偷袭. He knew in advance, but he had to let this happen so the American will support the United States to go to war against Japan. Because Americans do not like, they want to be isolationist. They don't want to be involved in international affairs. So even though you have the information, you let it happen, then people say, oh, no, damn the Japanese. Okay, we have to fight, right? So they went to war, declared war on Japan. So maybe Putin has some information, and he purposely allowed this to happen, and then people say, we want Putin. We want strong leader. We want, firm hands. Okay? We don't know. But
this will be very difficult to happen.
I know. And that's a conspiracy theory. That's the 阴谋论. Okay? I think it's very difficult to defend against terrorism because terrorists are in the dark, and you don't know when they will strike, right? And now, look at all those, right now, the terrorists, they're women. I mean, are you going to search women? Especially in Russia. It's not like in Taiwan. Sometimes the weather is so hot here, you cannot wrap a bomb, right? Russia, the weather is cold. People wear a lot, right? And Russia do have people with big size, and you want to say, check, oh, that's discrimination. You don't think women can be this, right? So, very difficult. 你不会觉得吗？假如今天去查这些女性，那她们比较个大一点，你说，我看你好像有绑，他说，哦呦，你有绑炸弹，你没看过胖女人吗？Okay, so that's not good. Okay, next one, 杨嘉欣。Okay, I think this is the same question, Danzu, when you ask, because, people say, what is the option, to stop, to crush, defeat the insurgency, and especially random violence. You never know where they're going to strike. Maybe Moscow. One time, do you remember where? There is a Moscow theater, 剧院, right, in Moscow. And then another time is in North Ossetia. They kidnapped a lot of kids in the school, elementary school. And then the Russian hit back and killed 100 kids, little children, when they, fought against. So you never know the target. Okay, very difficult, random. Okay, population center, but also with random violence. Okay, Mr. Yang, continue, please. Surveillance. Okay, so very difficult. They said 10 million. I think daily at least 5, no more than 8, but they said 10 million. That's fine. So a lot of people using, it's covered the whole city of Moscow. But what happens if you have vendors? Oh, okay. Vendors. We don't see a lot of vendors in the United States. But in Taiwan, what are the vendors? Who are the vendors? Do we have vendors in our subway station? No. 我们台湾的地铁有这种小贩吗？是不能进吗？
捷运站不行，捷运站那个东西打开，你要怎么拉过去
No, 就是 backpack and then put再 assemble 不行吗？捷运站会抓 ，OK， 因为我们捷运站太小 ，OK， otherwise if you have a big one, I think you can play hide and seek, but they have a lot of things, backpack. Okay, now how many of you have ever been checked your backpack in a 捷运站, in a Taipei's metro station? No. Right? So what happens if someone carry a bomb? Cannot do anything, right? So it might happen. So Russia is very difficult to defend, but you can put a lot of we call surveillance camera. I think we have enough. People already said, "Hey, there is no privacy here." Too much. You think so? Also in Tsinghua, look in this building. I think there are a lot because there are some equipment being stolen. So a lot of surveillance now, cameras everywhere. I just wonder, maybe the surveillance camera producing company have lobby or create some stealing, so people are buying all those cameras. Okay. Next one, Chen Yunqing. Medvedev. Okay, continue. Complacency. Victor Nitzen. Institute of International Studies. Okay, so here the system cannot prevent terrorist attack, but at least you help the law enforcement 执法单位, right? Identify helpers and organizers. Remember, after the bombing, people already identified those who assisted the bombers, the suicide bombers. So, camera at least know, some of the people who were helping, organizing. But neither he nor Medvedev have so far offered any hint of fresh strategy. So you don't have dealing with terrorists. You have to be tough, but what else you should do? No other new strategy. So here, Victor Nitzen of the Institute said, complacent. What is complacent? Complacency. Ms. Yang, what is complacency? Like Tsinghua students. If you graduate from Tsinghua, most of the time, if you want to go to a private university graduate school, it's automatic, right? Like private school say, what day is today? We have the honor of a Tsinghua graduate, willing to come to our graduate school. So you say, well, maybe I don't need to prepare. I'll just go there, just show up. People will accept me, right? That's what we call complacent. 什么是 complacent? 自满的或者什么？还有什么？中文怎么翻译？自我感觉良好也可以啦。Very good. 你们字典怎么翻译 ？complacent. 自我 自满 ，OK，you just feel good， 啊，对不对？我有参加过像什么辅仁大学、中原大学，说，哎，你看有清华学生来申请，哎 ，wow， you know like automatic you have to give to him, right or her. So that's complacency. It means you feel comfortable. Okay. So in recent years, because when you don't have any major things happening in Russian city, so people say maybe we're safe, but it never stopped in North Caucasus. But that's so remote, so far away from Moscow, so people don't care. And so you need urgent measures. Okay, so here, in addition to military, you also have to have economic development, because that is going to deal with the issue of poverty and other, deprivation in the area, and then political change. Tall order, Ms. Yang. What do you mean by tall? Ms. Chen, what do you mean by tall order? Tall order means, don't you think you're asking a lot? Like, oh, we expect Ramirez. We still remember him. He visited Taiwan, right? Ramirez of Dodgers. We said, oh, he should hit, based on history, he should hit at least 320. 打击率要2%吧。Home run 40 a year. RBI, runs batted in, 100 at least. 这个好像是重炮手都应该有40发全垒打，100打点。这个 they said, oh, but he is 38. 他已经38岁了。Maybe that's a tall order. 你要求太高了吧 ？But I paid that money for this, kind of production. 所以这叫 tall order, right? Something that is very difficult to achieve. Okay. 林佑荣，庄希威，周佳莹 ，Am I missing someone here? Okay. Sabrina. Okay. 吴炳佑。
Following the last large-scale terrorist strike, the 2004 hostage crisis at the
Dagestan
school that resulted in more than 300 deaths, then President Putin forced through
draconian
political changes that strengthened the security forces, concentrated more power in the Kremlin, and canceled regional elections.
Continue.
The current wave of terrorism might be similar, used to force through radical reforms of the Interior Ministry, which oversees Russia's police forces, and also to end the recent international debate.
Internal debate.
Internal debate about the need of liberalize the Kremlin-centered authoritarian political system that Putin established.
Okay, so here, Putin doesn't, he wants more concentration of power. Remember, Russia is a federation, but it's only a federation in name. Federation is supposed to share power with region. Now, look at what happened. He said he canceled some regional election, and some of the regional leaders used to be elected. Once they are elected, they have to take care of the people. Now have been appointed. That's pretty centralized. So that's one, they centralized the power. And look at what happened. 2004, hostage, right? More than 300 deaths, and more than 100 were kids, okay? So he forced through a draconian. What do you mean by draconian? This is a, Roman word. Draconian means very complicated, very slow, difficult process. Draconian 中文怎么翻译？怎么翻译？严苛的 ，OK。So like step by step, they force you to do things. Okay, so this originally from the Roman law. Okay, 严苛的法律. So here they do the political change, strengthen the security forces, and then concentrate more power. But then you have more this terrorist attack that will lead to we call radical reform of interior ministry. Interior ministry 是什么？室内装潢部。What is interior ministry? 内政部。Okay, so Ministry of Internal Affairs or Interior. Or in Great Britain, what do they call? I love their term. They call the 内政部长. They call Home Secretary. Okay, home. So here, Russia's police forces need to be reformed, and there is an internal debate saying, "Oh, we should liberalize," means allow more freedom. Maybe that's over. Now, look, if you want to have reform, liberalization, freedom, you have terrorism. So maybe we need more hard line to deal with that. So big debate here. We will continue to try to finish this debate. Have you been